How's the job hunt? Biz, I've basically given up until today. I now have reached the stage where I am telling complete falsehoods on my resume relating to my experience as to try and snag a role so that I can bunny-hop off into a different company within 9 months before I am found out. I do wonder if it will work. Graduate from December 2019. Over 800 plus applications. Have only had 6 interviews. Got ghosted after reaching final round. Can't apply to internships cause already graduated. Every entry-level job requires 2 years minimum. Currently gigging for Uber Eats to get exercise and be outside. Shit is fucked. BS in engineering. Worked in a business office unrelated to degree for a few years after college. Lost job last year due to corona. Decide to try to get back into engineering. Applied to 50 jobs in the last 3 months. 1 callback, 1 interview, no job. Feels bad, man, I'm losing hope. I feel like I'm an excellent candidate too. I way overperformed at my last job and I'm still young. Should I go crawling back to my old company after I said I don't want to work there anymore on my way out? Econ student. Land internship at huge bank. Gov makes me stay home for 2 weeks cause I'm suspected for COVID so I couldn't go. I am so fucking mad. I can't even get a min-wage job in my shitty town. I've been living only on GME and crypto gains. I'm down to my last hundreds and I didn't put anything away for taxes. Friends make it stop. The point is to make lots of money while you're young so that you can make good memories and live life to the fullest. The number one deathbed regret is having spent too much time at work / not enough with family and loved ones. That's exactly why we're all here, you retard. We don't want to wage for 80% of our waking hours. We don't want to retire at 70 and die a few years later. This isn't about Lambos and hookers, it's about trying to build a meaningful life that's actually worth living. Most of us are close enough to suicide as it is. That's why we're trying to make it. You wouldn't get it, you're probably a normie. $40K job that's basically just slightly advanced data entry. House and car are already paid off from a small inheritance a few years ago. First month on the job I created and perfected a macro-enabled Excel workbook to do all my work for me. Get 8 hours of work done in 5 minutes every morning. Occasionally take on a few extra projects for the same type of work that don't add more than 5 to 10 minutes to my work day. Glowing performance reviews. Free to dick around basically all day with 0 repercussions. Nobody ever checks on me since the work is getting done. Boss always talking about what a hard productive worker I am and how proud he is to have me on his team. Never going to tell them my secret. Sold my biz just before Coronachin. Buyer calls me every month, he says I knew something was up. Unironically thinks I'm Illuminati or something. Actually I was just about to go bankrupt but acted as if everything was fine. Now I might buy it back from him at an 80% discount when he does instead. Have a job currently, sysadmin. Want to move on, starting to hate my company, shit is on fire all the time, they refused to hire more people etc. Started sending out job apps last month. No bites. Even being currently employed in a good field is fucked right now. I don't get how people job hop so successfully, bros. Had decent job before COVID hit. Unemployed for 4 months. Making decent gains trading so, not in a rush to find job. Find okay work from home job paying 25 per hour. Send me new computer. First week constant issues on their end getting me set up in the system. Second week still not set up. 10 whole hours work doing nothing. Is this what being employed is now? Should I just tell them to fuck off and keep being an eat? Team dissolved in February. Was moved to the analytics team when I am a marketer and know jack shit about analytics. Been 2 months now. Boss hates me and has no idea why I was put on his team. Had 2 interviews and no follow-ups since then. Monday had a 3rd interview scheduled. Was cancelled 1 minute before because the HR manager didn't fucking look at my resume and said he wanted someone with management experience. Def getting fired soon and have no job leads despite having my MBA and 5 years experience. It's hell. Hey Anon, I know a guy that does computer stuff. Text him. Hey, meet me at this bar. Talk briefly about a few new things that are happening and how I love Linux while having a pint. I want you to install and admin dozens of remote servers for customers. I'll give you a ton of money and work whatever hours you want. Already got him to say smelly Somali. Been there 2 years and 30% trace. Buy whatever I want for work and he pays for it, no questions asked. Take time off for any reason anytime. Take the small company pill. Do you Anons want a jobs general with info? 2020 grad burger here, all I have is a BS in mechanical engineering. Applied to 3 jobs total before during Rona because lazy. 2 rejects, 1 later wanted me back, told them no. Accepted first offer. Moved out of state for job. Didn't like it even though 6K per month post-tax. Applied for another job and phone interviewed. 6 months quit and now work from home. T comfy. Have online interview for grad scheme. Film answer to a few questions, goes well, gave confident answers with no stuttering. Ace coding questions, passing all test cases and completing them in less than half the time given. Unfortunately, we will not be progressing your application at this time. No feedback given. MFW. What more do you fucking want? Requires 3 years of experience and an extremely hands-on skill that's not taught in any school or anywhere outside of on-the-job training. Requires college degree. 15 to 20 bucks an hour. This shit needs to die now. It's a technician on a US military base. My job is to maintain networking equipment between a list of buildings. When everything is working, I have nothing to do. Maybe once every 3 months I have to swap out some switches, routers and reconfig them. If there is a major infrastructure problem, I have to coordinate contractor Wagies to come do the actual work. This isn't because I'm not capable, but I'm required to outsource these tasks because a private contractor company won a $8 million contract to provide this service. The contractor Wagies make $12 per hour. I have my own workshop where I'm completely unsupervised and I drag commercial Wi-Fi in there so I can browse the interwebs. I can go and come as I please, people just assume I'm working at one of the other buildings. The $75K per year job is at specialist. Work in a cubicle on a team of specialists, micromanaged, clock in, clock out, stare at screen all day, supervisor looks over your shoulder at screen. Considered white collar. For funsies, I used to go to pyramid scheme meetings where they'd try to get people to buy shit like vacations, timeshares, etc. I'd go for free coffee and food and just shrug off the high-pressure sales tactics. I took the most pride in hitting the same people for free shit over and over again. When you learn to recognize the mentality of people in pyramid schemes, you start seeing it everywhere. They always think of what they're doing as a business and they imagine that they'll climb up towards the top of the pyramid when in reality they'll be on the bottom rung or treading water constantly a run or 2 up the pyramid and trying frantically to avoid falling down towards the bottom. You see that shit in companies, politics, religious groups, fucking everywhere. The bottom is full of people who are either oblivious suckers or suckers who think that they're in on the con and that they are going to work their way up. When you realize it, there's shock for a while. It takes time for acceptance to sink in. I'm a project engineer in construction, basically an overpaid paper shuffler. I do no physical labor, but rather document control, RFIs, communications with engineers and suppliers, running the back end of the job, etc. During my first job out of college, I worked very hard. I was extremely stressed and worked long hours and was responsible for many things on projects to keep them running. Near the end of my run there, I got a reputation as an Excel whiz and project closeout expert of sorts. I was on a long-term $250 million hospital project, 3 years job security, with moderate stress, but I was honestly liking the gig. My boss calls me up one day and asks me to move to a different project for 3 to 4 months to close it out, then come back. This was the start of COVID. I didn't think much of it and accepted and moved to this next project to close it out. It was very stressful and I was really hating my life. I was working hard, I was responsible for many things. The project was coming to a close, and I was excited to move back to the other job, but someone else with my title, who had connections inside the industry, his dad owned a smaller GC in town, and in the construction industry everyone knows each other, was placed on the hospital project. I knew pretty quickly that this guy replaced my ass and the writing was on the wall. I continued to bust my ass, but more for good faith and the slight chance that maybe I will get on a different project and perhaps get a promotion. I was eventually laid off as the company was running out of projects due to COVID. I got a small severance, and the day I was let go was one of the most freeing feelings I ever had. I felt elated to finally stop wage cucking, even if only for a couple months. Ironically, this company treats its employees like a big family. What a load of shit. I learned an important lesson from this. Contrary to what my boomer father taught me to work hard, I learned that hard work sometimes doesn't pay off. Last job was a fancy retail menswear shop, and I could feel myself boiling inside at the notion of having to do it every damn day for years. I basically stopped caring and then quit. Expected to show up 30 minutes early and work for free to get the shop ready. At first, I did that, but then I realized it was a scam. I only came 5 minutes early, and you could see my colleagues start to get annoyed. Pure crabs in a bucket. Everyone Brown knows his absolute psycho-bullying boss. And I ignore his existence and paid him little respect. I could see from the get-go that he was a dumb cunt that landed his position with pure luck, and now he shots on everyone for his own entertainment. Fuck that shit. Retail is the absolute worst. Hard work can paint a target on your back. Make other people look stupid. My first job out of college was support for the IRS. Holy shit, I loved that job. I learned so much so quickly. They had a bounty program for process improvements, and I was collecting all sorts of data and tactics from my calls. Every team of 10 would have 3 calls picked out to be scored by national, and agents would be congratulated. I was getting one every single day. 23 perfect calls in a row, and our goal was 90%. They started building a case against me. Said they checked 3 calls and I failed 2 of them, except I could see on their screen the whole list was grayed out. They had to hunt for these, and the ones they found were examples of when I would ask the caller to verify their answer. You would do this if it was a really corner case exception that applies to nobody. The caller had changed their answer upon clarification, and I was still told it was improper to waste time clarifying. I was asked to hand in my resignation after my first failed national call. It failed because a logic fault in one of our tools, a logic fault that I had already reported as faulty in this exact hypothetical corner case. Joint bond holders, the tool never asks if the bonds are jointly held. Yeah, I am jaded. Now I don't go above and beyond. I make more, and my job is more stable. I just finished college. Having worked 2 summer jobs, I have decided I would quite honestly rather die than work at a company again. I don't mind working, I just hate working for someone else, especially buzzword-obsessed corporations. In 2 weeks I'll start to flip items, make and sell soap, invest, act as a courier, and do any kind of independent work. It really is do or die for me at this point. I mean it absolutely, 100%. My parents have been so proud of me, high school, college, a job here and there, etc. I applied to some boomer-type corporation to please my mom. Friends of hers are connected to said corporation, and they are super excited, talking about my first real job and shit like this, giving me tips, etc. In a nutshell, they have been financially and emotionally supportive of me, but I fear it is only because I have been taking the safe, boomer Jenks-approved path. However, I just can't put up with it, bros. A fire inside me burns, and it tells me to go my own, independent way, to work hard, but to work for myself. I fear I will disappoint my parents by doing this, especially since I've been through 2 out of 3 interviews at this company that have all gone very well, which made them real proud. But no, I will not take the safe, passive and steady path that assures me a lifetime of achievements. I've seen the misery that awaits down said path. Fuck that, I know you guys feel the same. I will think of all of you every step of the way. I work for myself and myself only. And if I ever have employees, I will sure as shit make their lives way better than what they would get at any other business. And thankfully, at least I have my grandfather who someone thinks like me, ironically, the least boomerish boomer I've met. Sorry for the rant. Anyways, good luck bros. We're all gonna make it. I worked support for an healthcare company. My boss quit after 6 months there, and my team was assigned a boss from another department. This boss constantly praised me. After another 8 to 9 months of working hard, a position opened up in the department of this placement holder boss. I applied and was treated like an outsider. I was asked questions about how well I knew software they clearly knew I used all fucking day long. I was then told later they decided to hire some faggot outside of the company. I was furious and I asked this boss why, and she said it was because I wasn't proactive enough. I told her to give me an example and she couldn't. I also asked why, in the 8 to 9 months she was my boss, she never once mentioned this as all she had done was praise me, and she had no answer. I walked out that day thinking to never work hard again as all the other people I knew who were promoted were lazy retards. I seriously hope that former boss gets fucking brain cancer. This was over 3 years ago, and I still hate her stupid fat face. She did me a favor, though, because it taught me a lot. Still, she's a stupid cunt, and I hope to God she burns in hell. Grave robbing, I shit you not. Find historic graveyards at county clerk's office. Typically they are less frequented, have decent loot, almost never have security. You want graves prior to 1930 as concrete encasing of coffins is less likely and easier to get into coffins. Brick encasements are easier to get through than concrete. In Civil War graves you often find rifles, pistols, and swords. Not to mention jewelry in ladies' tombs. But more importantly, you can sell a single human femur for $300, a skull for upwards of $1,200. Pretty low investment to get started. Petzl headlamp, a good short shaft sharpshooter shovel, a long shaft wide shovel, waterproof duffel bag, crowbar, 10-pound sledge. Read up on bone debrisement, bone polishing, gun collection info, and jewelry identification. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe.